So we had a little technical difficulty, but that's not going to stop us. All right. So what we're talking about is sleeping with the enemy. Do you really know the signs that you're in bed with your enemy? It's sad when we see happy couples on their wedding day, and the next thing you know, maybe 5 years, even a year, even months from then, you found out they weren't so happy after all. And in fact, sometimes some go as far as murdering the one they promised to love for a lifetime. Dolores Jones, the Comeback Coach, is my name. I am here for you. Do me a favor. Let me know if you can hear me. I want to make sure that you get this message loud and clear. Is that all right? Loud and clear. When you get a moment, make sure you visit my YouTube channel. For those of you already here, hello. Hit that subscribe button and you will join me, get notifications from when I'm on live. A sister planning on being here on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. Right now it's just a little before 8, but I just wanted to give you something that's hot off the press. I tell you what, when they say when it rains, it pours. It's unfortunate that sometimes a person will die at the hands of an intimate partner. And if we're not careful, we'll just sweep it under the rug. We'll sweep it under the rug until the next tragedy. So what I want us to do, thank you so much, TJ. What I want us to do is to stay abreast of what it means to be sleeping with the enemy. And as we do that, kind of take some notes and things for you to look for. Sometimes people get so spiritual or they think they're spiritual. They really ain't spiritual. Whenever something ain't right, it ain't right. God does not have to come from heaven and tell you that person just hit you. That's not of me. But in the case with the young woman, Barbara Tomei, who's married to the fake prophet, relying on God, God need to come down and slap some folks. So apparently this is how this went. She was currently actually engaged to another man. Can you believe that? Yes, she was. She was engaged to another man. Girl, come on, Dolores Jones, calm down. She was engaged to another man, and so Sylvester Offery, who eventually murdered her, had told her, now this is according to reports from people from the church, there are other videos out there to support this information, there's so much going on, but he had told her that God told him that she was his wife. So what did she do? She left the other man alone and she married him. Now we all want to do what God wants us to do, right? But we have to learn, what does the voice of God really sound like? It's not some mystical thing. It's like when you start talking to me or I talk to my son, he learns my voice. He learns the tone of my voice. And although God is a spirit, there are certain ways to tap into your own spiritual paradigm. Sometimes you go through religious organizations, but we have to learn, although you go into a group type of worship, you have to maintain your individuality. You also must maintain the fact that you have a gut feeling. You have instincts. And if something doesn't feel right, it just doesn't feel right. And if God is talking to somebody, don't you think he could talk to you? Don't take somebody's title or their power, all of this. He got money. Well, he got a nice business. Well, he has a mega church. Well, he has a little church. So what? He still might have mental issues, as in the case with Sylvester Offery, killed that young woman. He told her brother, quote, "If I don't kill your sister, I am fake." In other words, I have to kill your sister. You don't have to kill somebody. Doesn't that sound crazy? But unfortunately, the day that they made that tape, the sister-in-law and her brother Perry, they did turn the tape into the police, but it was too late. The very next day, he went to her job and he killed her. He shot her a few times in the back, and then, from what I understand, he emptied the rest of the gun in her head. Now, that's evil. That's so much evil out there. That's evil. You're right. Somebody said God is not the author of confusion. And you're not dumb. And if you're sleeping with the enemy, let me give you a couple of pointers about sleeping with the enemy. If you're with somebody and they're trying to sabotage and undermine everything that you do, they're not loving you. That's the enemy. Look at your idea and understanding of an enemy, and you write that stuff down. An enemy does not want to see you thrive. An enemy does not want to see you survive. An enemy is there to point out your flaws. An enemy is there to degrade you, to discourage you, and if given the opportunity, to destroy you. And I don't care how fine they are. I don't care if you met them 10 years ago. Once a person shows you based upon their behavior, not their words, you can't take things at face value. Just because he said, I love you, does not mean I love you. Okay? That doesn't mean anything. What are you showing me? You said you love me, so let me look at some of the outcomes of your love. Okay, I went to the hospital. Does that add up to somebody loving you? I hope not. Okay, I had some money, right? I had some money, and I left it in my bed, and when he left, my money was gone. Now, you know it's just you and your child was not at home, and now your money's gone. Come on, Dal. You're not ignorant. Ignorant means you don't know better. You know better, but sometimes, and I quote this, I said this, sometimes we're in love with what was instead of what it is today. What are you showing me today? As Janet Jackson said, what have you done for me lately? Am I crying all the time? Am I running from my life? Do I have to change jobs? Do I go to work and I'm all depressed and discouraged? And then you say crazy stuff to me, and then I'm supposed to act like, oh, you didn't mean it. You meant it because you said it. We need to stop giving people excuses. You letting them off the hook. We give them allowances. Why? Because sometimes we feel like God said. God is not the author of confusion. And if God said in Jeremiah 29:11 that my thoughts towards you are not to harm you, to give you hope in the future, then anything outside of that is not of God. It's not of God. It's just not. I got into a marriage that I stayed in for 7 years because of false prophets. 7 years of my life. The guy cheated on me, did all kind of, humiliated me, and I still married him. I went away to college, but that seed of deception was still sown in my mind, and I wasn't as wise as I should have been. And before I even married him, I was just like, oh my God, do I really got to do this? I didn't even like the guy. But because these false prophets had said, God said, they said, you asked God about somebody. And I'm like, yeah. God says yes. Now, they didn't know what I asked, but it was in the church. So then people take it, and they were running with it. I asked God, was it okay to date this guy? I wasn't ready for a marriage or a relationship. I was going away to college. So think of things like that. You have a life before you meet somebody else. God is not just going to stop you from doing what's best for you to uproot your life and go and follow somebody else. No. But what did I do? I just kept covering it up. Take the wedding ring, take the engagement ring, leave it on the dresser, go to my classes on the college campus, come back. When he would come on the weekend, then I would put the ring back on. But who lost out in the end? I did. Somebody totally in love with me. Guy said, Dolores, I've never been in love, but I know that I love you. He said, I love you. And y'all know what I said to him, Jay? I said, oh, Tim, I already know who I have to marry. He's looking like, what? Like, why didn't you tell me, like, you think it's like it's going to go away. See, sometimes the hard decisions, we have to make those decisions. God is not going to send lightning to just shut somebody down. When you get a restraining order, that means it's over. I don't care how many prayer lines you get into. I don't care how many people say, I'm praying for you, Sister Dolores. I'm praying for you, Sister Tracy. I'm praying for you, Sister Barbara. You know that's just the devil. He don't want your marriage to survive. No, that's called mental illness. And you are sleeping with the enemy. Don't you deserve better? You know right from wrong, don't you? Then why are we playing crazy? Who's it helping? So let's just be honest. If you know that you're sleeping with with the enemy, then just say, you know what, I'm in an unhealthy relationship. Now ask yourself, why do you still stay in there? And then you have to listen for the answer. Some women say, I don't want to be alone. Some people say, I got kids with this person. Some people say, well, I don't know if I can do anything outside of him. And that's what's important, is for you to recognize why you are there, so you can start working on that mindset. Now, education is important because it gives you options. Options. You equip yourself to do other things. But sometimes when you get in these relationships, the enemy is going to play on your weaknesses. That's what the enemy does. You ever see an enemy come in trying to rescue somebody? No. Mm-mm. Well, if he do it one more time, why does he have to do it one more time? He did it once before. What's the problem? What are you waiting for? Talking to a young lady, I said, are you done now? Are you? I don't know. I talked to him and we just gonna go to church again. Why? He just choked you. Don't misunderstand foolishness for forgiveness. You know, honestly, and y'all can quote me if y'all want to, but with the number of women that are dying at the hands of their intimate partners is astronomical. In October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Now, this isn't to just make you feel good. This is to arm you with information and stories, because some people believe, I can't do it without it. Nobody's going to want me. And you don't have to agree with the devil. If you hear something that ain't right, you check the person right there. Bruh, that ain't right. That ain't working for me. What? It ain't working for me. Oh, so you think you somebody? Absolutely, I am somebody, and you need to step. Somebody come up to you, threatening you, giving you stuff like, here, baby, I got you a cell phone, and I want it to be special. So when I call you, I want you to answer, baby. Okay, girl, if that ain't the trick of the enemy, your mama don't even know. Your mama don't even know where you at most of the time. Why would you allow a person to have that much access to you? Are you sleeping with the enemy? I'm gonna tell you how you know you're sleeping with the enemy. You're sleeping with the enemy when you go and say, for instance, this happened to me. Actually, I had a column, a newspaper column. It's called Woman to Woman. And so here I am, I'm writing for women and everything. And the editor of the paper, she's just like, Dolores, it was such a good article. I thought it was great. Well, the person I was with, he worked for that station. He worked for the newspaper. And so right in the middle of her complimenting me, he says, what? Did you see all those typos? That's the enemy, right? That is straight the enemy. Okay? The enemy's job is to kill, steal, and to destroy you. Kill your spirit, kill your influence, steal your joy. And then at the final blow, the person wants to kill you. I can't make it any plainer than that. And I know sometimes, well, Dolores, people change. Okay, believe that if you want to. Do you know how hard it is for you to change? Just think about it. How hard, Cynthia, has it been for you to change? Rebecca, how hard has it been for you to change? And we're still changing. We are evolving. We're evolving. So if it took you this much, I mean, like I'm still changing. It's easier to change my address, change my clothes, change your underwear, change your mind. You got to change your behavior. The proof, they say, is in the pudding, right? The proof is in the pudding. What's in there? Oh, that's apples. That's an apple pie. No, it ain't, baby. Mm-mm. That ain't an apple pie. Baby, that ain't an apple pie. Mm-mm. That ain't it. What's the ingredients? See, sometimes we need to know what the ingredients are for a phenomenal relationship. Sometimes we don't know that because we want somebody to make us feel good. But sometimes you feel like a nut and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's gas and you think it's God because somebody else told you that. You have to learn to be an individual. You have to stand up for what you know is best for you. But we have to take the time. We have to spend the time getting to know ourselves. A young woman that I'm coaching, she contacted me. She's like, Dolores, and I'm like, okay, baby, talk to me. And she's like, well, you know, I heard so-and-so, and they said God sent them. And then I was praying to God. And then in 2 days, this guy just popped in my life. And I said, okay, all right. Well, now, you know, he don't want to move forward. Okay, so he's not ready for a relationship. But God told me, baby, listen, God is not forcing anybody to be with you. Don't act goofy. Okay. Don't act goofy. If you're missing it, you just missing it. You sleeping with the enemy? Listen, this is also an enemy. Person won't pay no bills. Person has you struggling. I meet women all the time. Girl, I'm working 2 and 3 jobs. That ain't nothing to be proud about. Them kids got a father. Put that person on child support. Oh, you know, he said it's hard out here on a pimp. Well, tell them to stop pimping people and go get a job, a real job. Somebody cussing you out, that ain't love. That's ridiculous. Oh, I cuss him out too. Then both of y'all acting foolish. Well, we had a fight. I got a black eye, and then he got a black eye. And I'm not making these stories up. I said, well, how about nobody needs a black eye? How about you just get up out of that relationship? You know? Hey, lady, get out of the relationship. Well, at least my man, he didn't break my arm. He was just yelling at me. The enemy. You ever been somebody's enemy? So let's just be honest, because sometimes it's hard to relate to what an enemy does if you really don't have a concept of what an enemy is. So let's pretend that you're the enemy. That person at your job, you don't like them, right? Okay, what do? You go around lying on them. You lie on them. Every chance you get, you try to sabotage something they're doing. And you could be lying. But because that person is your enemy, you don't care whether they live or die, whether they eat or starve. Your enemy? Nah, boo. The enemy is not going to elevate you. The enemy wants to put his or her foot on your neck. There's so many ways to do it. Financial abuse. Come on. Why didn't you control your own money? You grown. You don't need permission to spend your money. I was so silly behind religious foolishness. I'm sitting there, I'm graduated from college, working full-time as a radio personality, and I'm married to this minister. And I needed a car. I wanted another car, but I'm trying to play team because somebody said, you know, he the head of the household. So that means he's supposed to make all the decisions. So I thought. That does not mean that. Submission means thinking about what's the best course of action here. And whoever has the best idea, you go in that direction because you submit to each other. What I do, I'm sitting there, I can't believe this. I'm going around driving this big old ugly car I don't want to drive. Why? Well, because I need to talk to him about it. I'm working 40 hours a week. And you mean to tell me I gotta go ask this man if I can buy a car? You got to start asking questions. It was hot one summer, 100 and some degrees. We had a baby. I think our son was like several months old. And he and I had gotten into it the night before or something. And, you know, he called himself wanting to punish me. Well, how did he punish you, Dolores? I'm glad you asked. So I got up that morning because I had to be in the streets for the radio station. And I looked outside and he had left the car. He knew this. He left the car that did not have air conditioning in it. And he took the car that had the air conditioning and he took it to work and he parked it for 8 hours. Why? So that I couldn't have it. Now, God was not in that. He wasn't thinking about me, and he definitely wasn't thinking about his son. So you know what happened? Let me tell y'all something. I said, God, now wait a minute. Now wait just 1 minute, Jesus. You wait a minute, God. You blessed me to go to college. You blessed me to work full time right now. And I'm sitting here at 100 and something degrees with my baby in this car. And he knew what he was doing when he took the car. He knew what he was doing when he took that car. I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I called Tara's daddy because I had never purchased a car on my own. I called Tara's daddy. I said, Tara, I need to talk to your daddy. He was a car salesman. I called him, Mr. Williams, this is Dolores. And I was at the station working the radio. And I said, Mr. Williams, this is Dolores. And I've never, purchased a car before. And I just wanted to know if you could give me some pointers. And so he walked me through that process. Okay. He walked me through that process. And I went and found the car I wanted. And so one day he came home and, he wanted me to use the car now. He ain't mad no more. So he going to let me use the car with air. I didn't use that car. And he came home, that car was still parked in the driveway. I pulled up with my car. You got one time to act a fool. And see, once a person shows you they are the enemy, you have to believe them. He never got in the car. He never washed the car. He never put gas in the car. He was so pissed. See, an enemy doesn't want to see you move forward. An enemy wants to milk everything in you. They don't want to leave nothing else. Listen, you got better sense than that, right? I know you do. I'm going to need you to use it. But Dolores says sex is so amazing. Okay. Is that all you living for? Is a nice ding-a-ling with a gold tip on it? Come on, somebody. You better than that. Well, I ain't gonna never get a man. Well, good. At least you don't have that one. They're gonna go behind your back and dog you out. You're still making excuses. When you find yourself constantly making excuses about why the person in your life is not doing what they're supposed to do. Now, ladies, we're nurturing. We're supposed to nurture, right? We're supposed to nurture. We're respectful, most of us, right? We want to be respectful. Well, what is the role of a man? A man is a provider, right? And sometimes people become jealous because they sit around and they don't do anything with their potential. And then they say they want somebody with potential. And as soon as they get the person with potential, now they're upset because they know you mean business. So, now I gotta do something. Let me yank the phone out the wall. What? Young woman wanted a job. Phone rings. Hello, may I speak to Tracy? Yeah, who this? This is Dolores Jones. I'm calling to interview her. Oh, okay, hold on. Tracy! She got on the phone. I said, sweetheart, you put this number down on your application, right? I said, okay, so who is that? Oh, that's my boyfriend. We sharing cell phones. What? Girl. I said, baby girl. No, ma'am. You go get your own phone. That was control. She's sleeping with the enemy. What about me? Listen, when you want somebody to win, what do? You make sacrifices. You keep your word. You don't say anything that you know is going to hurt them. You don't dig back into their past and find something very painful and then just hit them with it. You don't do that. When you love somebody, you want the very best for them, even if it means it's not you. I'm going to say that again. When you love somebody, you want the best for them, even if it's not you. You know how you get into a relationship with somebody and you're like, man, I really love this person, but your values are different. You all aren't going into the same direction. You don't want to deal with what that person brings to the table. And so when you love somebody, you don't hold on to them. and squeeze the life out of them. You say, you know what, I really love you and I want you to thrive. So go ahead and do what you got to do. I'll be praying for you. Go ahead and do what you got to do. Enemies tell your secrets. Now I'm gonna tell you something, and this happened to me when I was a little girl, and just promise me you won't tell anybody. All right, baby, I won't tell anybody. Well, I used to, and then soon as you're in a place where your self-esteem and your confidence is up, the person hits you. Boom. Remember, you wasn't nothing but a slut when you that girl. Remember, you was telling me about it. What? And why would you argue with a fool? It doesn't make sense to argue with a fool. Never has and never will. So I want you to take some time. I want you to take some time. And I want you to write this question down. Am I sleeping with the enemy? Am I sleeping with the enemy? Every time I wake up in the morning, I got to cuss somebody out. I got to step over somebody's. Really? What? Every time. You ever been so frustrated that you wanted to go home, but it was you were so pissed off and you knew you was with the enemy, you just stopped at a hotel and just sat in the lobby? I did. I was like, God, something got to change. I don't even want to go home. I don't want to go home. When you get to the point you don't want to go home and you're paying rent and you're paying a mortgage and all that, something is wrong. Your enemy, listen, your enemy doesn't care anything about you. Your enemy is all about you. Your enemy is all about him. Hold on, Bella Boo. I got you, baby. We're going to get out of the car in a second. Your enemy is all about themselves. Bella, chill out for a second. I'm ready to get with my dog because she's happy. But your enemy ain't worried about you. It ain't about elevation. They want to put you under their foot. Put their foot on your neck. Right? And then feel justified. Just like that deacon, Bella Rose. Guess what? Hello. See, she sees somebody she wants to attack. Come here. Dolores Jones is my name, the comeback coach. I know you can do better. Sometimes you need permission to do better. I don't know why, but sometimes somebody has gotten so down in your head that they break you down that you don't even see how amazing you are. They treat you like a secondhand citizen, and you were so amazing. But you stayed in that place so long that the enemy has control of you. Yeah. The enemy doesn't tell the truth. Well, baby, I said, that wasn't me. It wasn't me. And you out somewhere fighting somebody. See, sometimes the enemy wants you to turn in on yourself. I'd be doggone if I killed myself over some Negro. I'd be doggone. Oh, he don't want me. Oh, I can't go on with it. Girl, please, that's the devil right there. Somebody got to die, it's going to be you. You got too much to live for. Stop listening to anybody and everybody. Get still enough. Ask yourself a couple of questions. Why do I feel so inadequate? What is it that makes me feel like I'm not enough? Why do I have to have this particular person? And what type of person am I becoming as a result of being in a relationship with this person? Some people say, what's the matter with you? No, I heard somebody else say, who is the matter with you? Who's the matter with you? You lay down with dogs, what you gonna do? You gonna get up with fleas. It's just the truth, honey. It's not rocket science. The other thing, think about this. Some of us are so quick to give advice to other people, but we won't give the same advice to ourselves. Isn't that something? If I were to say to you, Cynthia, this is happening to me, and Cynthia be like, girl, you know you better than that, Dolores. You deserve better than that. Then what happens if you're in the same situation and you go, hour? It's like you have to practice what you preach. The enemy got to go, boo. The enemy does not change. The enemy is coming for your juggler. I told y'all that story about the snake. Snake is frozen on the side of the road. Man with good intentions. Sometimes we have good intentions. Good intentions. I'm going to pick up this. I am going to pick this up. I'm going to pick up this snake. I'm going to take this snake home. Y'all know sometimes we do pick up snakes. Pick this snake up. I'm going to take him now, Lord. I'm going to take him. I'm going to put him up under my heat. You know, ladies, sometimes we put them in our bosom, you know, just close to me. Get them real close. The dog, then the snake starts to thaw out. Starts wiggling. And you be like, look at what I did. I brought it back to life. I'm amazing. So the man goes get the snake. He lifts the snake up. He said, hey, Mr. Snake. I see you looking mighty fine now. You done thawed out and you wiggle. You wiggling. And he's probably sitting there thinking, I did that. I saved the snake's life. And as the man sat back in his chair with his tea, the snake came on up. He thought maybe the snake was going to help him. And the snake bit him. And it was a poisonous snake. And he knew in that moment he was getting ready to die. He said, oh, Mr. Snake, after all I've done for you, you were on the corner, you were on the side of the road, you was dead. And I picked you up and I brought you into my home and I fed you and I clothed you and I bathed you. Ladies, you know how we do it. Mm-hmm. All he needs is a good woman. Girl, all he needs is a good woman. I know. The other ones, no, they just didn't understand him. Really? Man is dying. Ain't no coming back from that. He said, Mr. Snake, why would you do that? Mr. Snake, he didn't say, well, you know, He said, you knew that I was a snake. That's my nature. That's the nature of a snake, is to bite you. So even if you save the snake still has to be a snake. So if you go and get you one of them freshly out of the penitentiary dudes, oh, Dolores, it's hard on him out here. You don't even know why I went to the penitentiary. Well, I'm going to let him move in with me. Heard a story of a young woman who did that. The man killed her, had a baby with her, got upset, and killed her. Why? It's in his nature. He's a killer. One woman sitting in the car with her man, daughter's in the back seat. He wants the woman to give him her TV so she can go in and he can pawn her TV. She said no. He took a gun and shot her in the head and killed her. Her daughter's in the back seat. It was his nature. People got anger problems. You can't save that. You can't pray that through. They got to want to do it. Stop rescuing these people. Somebody used to say, I'm Captain Save-A-Ho. You're not Captain Save-A-Ho. Ladies, you don't build a man like you build a bear. There's a store you go in, and I made a bear for my son. You pick out which bear you want, then you stuff it, and then you put the clothes on it, you buy it, and you put it in a box, and you give it to the child. That ain't how men are made. Men are made through adversity. There's something that says adversity introduces a man or woman to themselves. In other words, what is in you when the pressure is applied, it's coming out. You can fake it all you want to. Eventually, it's going to come out. And be okay with having wise counsel. Because sometimes we're so in love that we ignore the obvious. Be like, girl, you know how he just was talking to you, girl? Oh, girl, I don't know. No. Or your grandmother got discernment. Baby, yes, ma'am. I know you like him. Yes, ma'am. But he's not it. Grammy, I'm grown. I'm 7 times 3. I'm 21. And you look up and you're dead. People want you to be happy, but they want you to be alive. Say that again. People want you to be happy. You just don't want me to be happy. You just mad because I got a man and you ain't got a man. No, you ain't got a man. You got a monster. So just be honest with yourself. You got a monster. It's okay. You got a monster. You got a monster. And I got to go. I'm Dolores Jones, the Comeback Coach. Thank you so much for spending this moment with me. Do me a favor. Make sure that you go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It's somewhere in that corner. And join me again soon. And for those of you scrolling across, there is my Cash App at My Comeback Coach. If you'd like to contribute to my efforts right now, let's spread the word. Let's spread the love. We don't have to be dumb anymore. We don't. To sleep with the enemy. Now kick the enemy out. Change your locks. And if he comes back in, call the popos. It doesn't take magic. I want to see you win. I want to see you alive. I want to see you happy. Your middle name is Hurt. Every time somebody see you, you just talking about, girl, let me tell you what he did again. And your friends will get tired of hearing that too. Because they're like, don't she have good sense? Well, I know, Dolores. She said, are you sure? I said, do she need some medication? Because see, my great grandmother said it like this, and I'm out. She said, I went over and I was telling her about something. And I said, grandmother, she said, wait a minute, Dee Dee, wait a minute, Dee Dee. I said, yes, grandmother. She said, I'm going to ask you a question, because I told her about what was going on. And she knew I knew better. She said, are you crazy? And I said, no, grandmother, I'm not crazy. And when she realized and she heard me say, I'm not crazy, that's when she prayed. Okay. She wasn't getting ready to waste her prayer. She said, are you crazy? Like, I didn't raise you like that. And you telling me about this? Are you crazy? And I'm going to tell you what she said. And this is what my great grandmother said. She was a gangster. She said, tell him to kiss your ass and bark at the hole. Now, y'all know old folks, they would say stuff. You be like, kiss my ass and bark at the hole. I didn't know what it meant. But whatever it meant to her, she was serious. He said, you come on in here and you get in that other room. In other words, you ain't got to kiss no ass unless you want to. Wake up. Please wake up. We need you to be better, to do better. There's a girl out there and she's looking to see if she can make it. She's looking for Cynthia and Linda. And then there's some guys out there who want to know what it means to be a man. How do you treat a woman? We got work to do, y'all. No more excuses. No more excuses. Excuses are nothingness, monuments of nothingness. They mean nothing. Excuses don't produce results. And you're better than that. Dolores Jones here signing off. You all have a wonderful day. It was awesome talking to you, even while I was on the road, honey. I made time for you. Will you make time for me? I really hope so. Take care, everybody. Thank you for my new people. I'm glad you're there too. Mwah.